So yeah, welcome to our class. Today I'm going to discuss about Spring Boot, Spring Data, and MongoDB. So MongoDB crowd operations. So previously we did same crowd operations on SQL database. Now we are going to do the same in a MongoDB, which is called a NoSQL database. So before going to start our project, before going to start our operations, CRUD operations, we need to know how to install a MongoDB and how to install and what is the behavior of MongoDB. We need to know. So for that, so let me open the browser. So here, so installation MongoDB. So I will provide this URL to you guys so that you will have a reference. So download MongoDB using below link. So if you open this link, it will automatically give you the you can directly download you can directly download Windows. So if you want to change your OSs, you can change your OS based on your OS. So you can download. So after downloading you can double click on the either MIC file or exe file. Click on the next. While installing, you need to remove the compass. So compass is nothing but a how we are installing a MySQL. For MySQL, we have a SQL bench, right? For workbench. The same way compass is coming to the MongoDB. So it will take the lot of time to install while compass along with this MongoDB. So that uncheck the compass while installing this DB. And for user interface, for SQL, like SQL developer or MySQL workbench, we have a another third party user interface like SQL developer. We have a Robo 3T. So Robo 3T is the one of the user interface for a MongoDB. So you can open this link, downloaded link. You can directly download Robo 3T. Only Robo 3T, not Robo 3T Studio. Studio 3T. Only Robo 3T. You can download Robo 3T only. So you click on this, and also this is also double click and execution file, and it will go to the next. It will install automatically. After that, steps to create a MongoDB database. So how you created database, I will tell you. So now once you installed above locations and run below two.exe files, so you need to run a two.exe files. So what is the installation files? Go to C program files, MongoDB server, the version and bin, and run the mongod.exe, and then run mongo.exe. These are the two files you need to run to create a DB user. So let me open C drive. Let me share that. First of all, let me share the C drive. So fine. So now you are able to see the C drive, right? So just I opened the C drive, programming files, and MongoDB. This is the MongoDB. After installation, you will get the MongoDB folder here. You can open the server and version and bin. Now you have a files here. So let me open command prompt here, cmd, and also let me share this. Otherwise, you will not get. Yeah. So you are able to see the command prompt, right? Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now what I said, first you need to run mongod.exe. Mongod mongod.exe. So we have mongod.exe. So let me run mongod mongod.exe. Fine. So now the server is started. So MongoDB is started with the port number 27017. After installing, you need to come this path and you need to run. So once the MongoDB is started, then you can create the user or create the database and user for the database. So let me open one more command prompt. So one more command prompt. So let me open one more command prompt and let me share that also. So so then what you need to run? Mongo Mongo, right? Mongo, mongo.exe, not D, mongo.exe. So now it is asking to create a user. It is we see this is the use. This is the command. So this is the command. So use give the one MongoDB database name. MongoDB POC. I'm giving POC 123. So it is already there, right? can so MongoDB 786. This is the our database. So just I'm clicking enter. So switch it to MongoDB 786 is our database. Now you can create a role or admin role for this database. You can create two ways. One is the username password and a user admin any database. You can create a admin for all the databases which are existing in our database, or you can create a user admin to the specific database. This is the specific database. So better to create a user admin to any database. So this is what you can create. So let me copy this in one notepad and change the current database name. So let me copy that and change. After that I will add so that you will see. So admin create database user admin database. Okay, fine. So no need to give the database here. Fine. So where want to fine. So yeah, let me click this. Let me click on this. So now create DB user where 123 user admin any database and admin. This is the admin role. So let me click the enter. See, successfully added user. Right? Once you added the user, you can connect the user from the Robo3D. So Robo3D, once install the Robo3D, the Robo3D icon will appear in your desktop. And once you open the Robo3D, it will appear like this. So it will appear like this. So let me disconnect whatever I am having. Let me disconnect. So whenever you are having it shows file connector. So it will come like this. So already I have some databases here. So I don't want to connect these existing databases. Just I want to create one new database. So what is our database name? Here? MongoDB 786 is our database name. MongoDB 786. So let me give the MongoDB 786. So yeah, let me test. Yeah, it is connected. So it is there. So it is connected. And authentication. So let me give the authentication. So this is the MongoDB, right? So authentication. Perform the username and password. So database is the MongoDB 786 and username password. What is the username and password? Veer123. Veer123. So let me test here again. It is connected. So now save. I just saved the database. So now it is coming here. Whenever I'm saying coming here, just I'm connecting the database now. So MongoDB 786 is the database is connected. Now see here the little bit terminology is different. So in our SQL databases we are calling as a tables and records. Here we can call it as a collections and documents. So inside the collection we have a documents. One document is nothing but one record. Like that we have. So collection is nothing but a record. Collection is nothing but a record. Database here. So table here. So now, so up to this you are clear, right? Installing MongoDB. After installing, we need to create a user. You by opening that Mongo command prompt. One is the Mongo command prompt. One is the MongoDB for the running the database, and Mongo is the to add the users for our database. Up to this, you are clear, right? Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, sir. Okay, fine. Now let me open our application. Let me open our application. So here pom.xml. Let me go to the pom.xml first. So let me go to the pom.xml. So why is taking time? Fine. So let me close other applications. So Java 8, sorry, Java 8 and Spring Web. This is for the cloud operations and RESTful applications controller. So here I added MongoDB starter data MongoDB starter data MongoDB. So this is instead of JPA we are adding a Spring data MongoDB Spring Boot starter data. So you know Swagger is the user interface and as well as documentation for our application. Simply we added only one. Coming to now project structure. You know application controller documents are nothing but entities. Reports and service MPL. Open the documents or entities. Open the documents or entities. So you can give the document name employee collection. This is nothing but a table name. So after documentation, we need to give the collection name. Collection is nothing but table name. So this is the ID. Only you can give the ID. No need to give the other columns. Why? Because you need to tell what is the primary key of this document, this collection. Then Spring Data automatically will take care of that. And also, this is a NoSQL database, right? So NoSQL database means it is not having a structure. So this is not having a structure. So you can add multiple fields. So there is no structure. You can add multiple fields. There is no table structure at all. It is by default. It will take the JSON documents as a storage area. JSON documents as a storage. So fine. JSON documents will store inside the collection. Yeah, tell me.
Sorry to interrupt, Raju. Raju, like which is better, like structured or like non-structured?
See, NoSQL databases are always given better performance compared to structured database.
Okay. So
NoSQL database NoSQL database are recently came into the picture. Previously, we have a RDBMS database only. Now, recent days, which means last 10 years, NoSQL databases came into the picture.
Okay.
Right. So fine. Now I am opening the application data properties. So simply you can give the, of course, port number is this application port number. Spring Data MongoDB host. This is the local host. Why? Because whenever we are connecting this database is the, if you see here, file. Yeah, if you see here, this is the local host, right? Address. This is the local host. Simply you can give the local host here. Local host and port number and also DB name. What is our DB name? MongoDB 786. This is what our database name. Let me check once again. MongoDB 786. Fine. So we are given simply our database name. Fine. MongoDB 786. So now we already saw this document. And coming to service. Simply service, you know. So what are the operations we are going to do? Simply we are adding the 4 operations. One is the get all employees or get employee. One is the save employee, one is the update employee, one is the delete employee. Fine. So get employee after save we can add. Fine. So fine. And service simple. And coming to repository. So before going to the service simple, coming to repository. Simply at the repository, employee repository extends the MongoDB repository or Mongo repository. We already discussed about the Spring Data. Spring Data is already having a wrapper of each and every database in terms of repositories. If it is a SQL database, we are having a JPA repository. If it is a NoSQL kind of MongoDB repository, we have a Mongo repository. If it is a Cassandra database, we have a Cassandra repository. We have a Couch. If it is a Couch database, we have a Couch repository. For NoSQL, we have each individual repositories with respect to database. For SQL databases, we have only JPA. Why? Because structured, right? It is a structured. It is a predefined. So we have a JPA repository for all databases. But coming to NoSQL, there is no structure. So that is the reason each database have their own repositories. If it is a MongoDB, we have a Mongo repository. If it is a Couch database, we have a Couch repository. Like that, we have a respective repositories. Now we are using a Mongo repository, Mongo database. That is the reason I am using a Mongo repository. Apart from that, these are the same things. So we need to pass this entity here, entity or document, and along with the primary key type of data type. What is the primary key or data type here? Employee ID. So that is sorry, string. String is the primary key data type. So that is the reason I am giving the here data type. Fine. Coming to service IMPL, you know service IMPL. We need to auto-write the repository. Repository here the picture will be same. Save, the update, delete, and all. Here the picture will be same. The same picture we are the same movie will continue here. So whatever we did for the SQL database. And coming to controller. So in the controller, I added Swagger documentation also. So these are the related to Swagger. Operation, save employee API, notes, CRUD operations on MongoDB, and like that you can add your notes on Swagger related, and if it is a 200 successfully employee saved, like that. Here also we written. This is the related to documentation
Actually,
purpose.
it is related to, sorry, like actually it is related to Swagger or MongoDB.
No. This is related to Swagger. So documentation, just we are providing a documentation for our APIs.
Documentation. Okay.
Yeah, APIs, simple
So,
API.
is it going to affect the? I mean, for example, so when it throws an 400 error, the message will be showing as invalid request in Swagger. That is the thing, right?
See, whatever we are sending a response here, that will be shown as part of that. But documentation, whenever they are referring a documentation, the documentation will show these errors. If it is a 400 invalid request, if it is a 500 internal server error, like the documentation it will show.
Okay.
But the response, whatever we are passing here, that will be shown as part of response. This is simply documentation. So if you are providing a documentation URL to the other people, oh, this is the one API, save employee API. So it will have this type of status codes, like that they will live there without running our application.
Okay.
So here also you can give employee also, employee, and also delete. Here also employee delete. Fine. Employee fine. So like that we have a here the save employee, and we have a get all employees, and also update employee and delete employee. So this is what a REST controller. So coming to here, forget about this. No need to use this one. Fine. So coming to here, so after that application. So you know, right? Application, we have a Swagger documentation, as well as also component scan and enable. See, if it is a JPA repositories, we need to enable JPA repositories. If it is a MongoDB, we need to add a Mongo repositories, as well as we need to give the repo package where we are creating our documents are collections. So employee collection is there, right? Employee document. So that we need to give the repo package, so that it will enable this employee. So now I'm going to run this application. So just I'm running. I'm running in a debug mode, so that we can debug the. Simply, if you are understanding basic structure and basic behavior of Spring Boot application with the Spring data, so any database we can work, no issue. All are simply configuration integration is the difference between SQL and NoSQL, but the remaining all are same. So let me open Swagger. So 2020. Yeah. So employee controller. So now you can see employee save employee API. This is the Swagger nodes. If you see this documentation, so this is what I said, right? So in this document, it is showing all are invalid request, unauthorized, forbidden. So whatever we added database, internal server error. So like that, it will show the documentation. As part of documentation, it will show. So that is what we added. So now let me show you that Now here we don't have any collections. Collections are 0. So whenever we are saving, automatically it will create a database collection, and it will create the it will insert the database the data, employee data or employee collection. So let me try out it. Save employee. So department Java, employee ID 123 ABC. First name V Kakarla and last name V Kakarla and location Hyderabad, India, right? So let me debug so that you people understand well. So I'm debugging here. Just I'm executing. Okay, it is coming here. So it will come here. The controller will come here. Yes, it is coming. So whatever we are giving a employee object, here we are taking as a request body. Request body. So it is coming. So whatever we are giving here, all the values are coming here. So let me go to here. So it will come here. So simply repository save, it will save. So this is very easy when we are working with the Spring Data and microservices. This is the one of the microservices guidelines. If you are using a repository kind of Spring Data, if you are using taking the help of repository to save the data, it is a kind of our guidelines of microservices. So you are having a data now. So simply I'm saving. So it will go to control. Yeah, it is saving connected, and it is going to the here. It is coming here. So successfully saved. I'm passing a response status as a OK. So that is the, see here, response entity of object. This is the return type of my each and every API. Why I'm giving return type response entity of object? I already told you in a previous classes. So this is a HTTP protocol, right? So response entity is nothing but a Spring HTTP related response object. If you open here, so response entity. So where is the response entity? You see response entity here. So HTTP related response. So if it is an HTTP entity, HTTP response entity, you can pass response data as well as status of this operation. So that based on the status, the front end guy will populate the data. If it is a success response, they will populate the data. They will giving the response to the success response. If it is a failed related status, they will populate the error messages. So based on the status only, they will populate the either success or failure. So that is the reason it is a generic type of a return type of API in a microservices, in a Spring Boot microservices. We need to give the response entity as a return type of each and every API. So let me click on this. So if you see here, successfully saved. Now I want to check the database. So let me refresh. So collection 1 is coming. So if you open here, employee collection, I'm opening view documents. So this is the collection. So if you see here, this is the graph related model. Here, this is the graph review result in a tree model. This is the tree model. If you want to see the table model, you can click this. It is coming here. ABC ID is ABC, first name, last name, department, and location. If you open the JSON model, JSON document, you can see the JSON document also. So this is what Robo3T will give the different views of our data. So you can see in the table model, you can see the tree model, you can see the JSON model. So this is what a Robo3T, a user interface for the MongoDB. Now let me create one more record. So if I'm clicking this, it will not create a duplicate record. Why? Because Spring Data will take care of that. Every time repository.save object, it will check whether the object is existing or not in the database based on the primary key. If it is exist, it will override the values. If it is not exist, it will create the new record. So let me create again. Same record. Let me create a same record. So successfully saved. So let me check. So I'm running this query again. So the same record only. So it will not create any duplicates. That will take care by the Spring Data. that will take care by the Spring Data. Fine. So let me open. Let me add one more ABC, right? EFG, LN, LN. So Canada. Fine. Yeah, it is created. So let me open. Let me add one more record. So ABCDEFG, IJK. Fine. So nice. So nice. Bangalore. Fine. Let me create. So all are created. So let me check this here. Get operation. So we are getting all. We are not giving any. Just getting all. So are we getting 3 records or not? So we get the all 3 records. So let me check here. So let me check here. Yeah, we are getting a 2 records also here. Database also we have a 3 records, and also we are able to get the 3 records here. So just I want to update one of the record. Just I want to update the one of the record by through the put API. So let me add this. So just ID is the same. Yes, this is the LN record, right? Just I'm adding some characters. Just I want to check whether we are able to update or not. The record is able to update it or not. Fine. So let me execute this. So updated employee successfully. So it is updated, right? So let me see here whether the record is updated or not. Yeah, it is updated, right? The records are updated. You are able to follow me? Are you able to follow me? Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
fine. Yeah, it is
Raju,
updated.
it is more like the same thing with the structured DB, right?
Correct. But it is saving data in terms of, instead of a normal values, it is saving a data as a key value pairs. It is a key value pairs. It is saving as a key value.
Okay.
The keys are nothing but a columns. Okay, keys are nothing but a columns, and values are nothing but our values.
Okay.
It is simply
In
key
a
value pairs.
JSON format, it is saving it. That's all.
Yes. It is a JSON format. It is saving. If you want to delete, you can give the 1, 2, 3 ABC. Yeah, deleted successfully. If you see here,
okay, we can give the value and it will be deleted, right? Yeah.
Right, it will be deleted. Yeah, same operation. See, whatever we did in terms of, see, Spring Data will do all the operations the same only. So, but the configuration will change. It is a, if it is a MongoDB, we need to add the MongoDB related information in application data properties. If it is a SQL database, we need to give the SQL database related information in application data properties. We need to write the respective data store object to connect the database, or we can directly give the values, or we can directly give the define the values here. So this is what a MongoDB cloud operations. It is very simple. Let's see why you are understanding very well. So your previous class is understanding, you people are understanding very well. So that is the reason you are able to understand easily you are understanding these operations, right?
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
So yeah, so these are the 4 operations. One is the post, and one is the put, and one is the get, and one is the delete. So this is what MongoDB. But you people more concentrate on how we can install MongoDB. See here, I already given some documentation, right? How we can install MongoDB from these links, and how we can install Robo3D from this link, and what are the steps I need to follow to create a database name as well as a user for or credential for this database. Okay, you better to recommend to use this approach only, not this approach. Okay, fine, right? So this is what MongoDB. So that our next class will be REST communication. I will add REST communication. How we can communicate one microservice to another microservice. So that is what our next class. So up to here we are covered SQL database CRUD operations. We covered MongoDB CRUD operations. So if you do practice these 2 classes, you will be understand the next level classes also. Right?
Raju, one doubt. Yeah. Raju,
Hmm.
right now we were working on Spring Boot only, right? We didn't go inside microservice, right?
No. This is a microservice only. Why? Because why I'm calling as a microservice? See, I will tell you. So, service, how can we call a service as a microservice? So, we have a 12 factors manifesto. We have a 12 factors manifesto or 12 rules. If you are following 12 inside that rules, out of 12 rules, if you are following 5 or 6 rules in your service, then your service is a microservice. What are the 12 rules? One is code base. So your code should be maintained in a central repository called GitHub repository. Our code is maintaining GitHub repository only. So I am giving my code from the GitHub repository only, right? So our code is maintaining a GitHub repository. That is one rule we are following as of now. And second one is we need to follow the Spring Data repository kind of saving. Why? Because it is giving very easy to write or very easy to persistence the data in the database by using Spring Data. So that is also we are following repository. This is also we are following, and one more feature, dependency complications, version complications. So we are not having any dependency management. So we are not having any version complications here. So are we giving any version here MongoDB? No, right? So that the Spring framework, Spring Boot will take care of that versions because of the starter project. Because of the starter project, form.xml automatically downloaded the respective or compatible version to our application. Automatically it will download. So previously, if it is a Spring application, we need to mention the version, suitable version. If you are not mentioning the suitable version, it will give the compatible errors. So those type of errors we are removing. So how much code will be, it is reduced. And also we are enabling the by auto configurations, not the XML configuration. We are providing our application to the auto configurations. So some of the key factors are followed in this application, so that our application will be microservice, not 100% microservice. As of now, it is a partially microservice. Later, one by one, I will add Spring Cloud components also. I will add, then we can call it as our service is 100% microservice. But it is a microservice. Why? Because most of the guidelines are from the 12 factor manifesto or 12 factors methodology we are following. Spring Boot by default microservice enabled architecture. Keep in mind. Okay.
And one more thing, Raju, like, but we'll use like Eureka service and all, right?
Correct.
Like
that is cloud components. That is cloud components. See, once we finished with the service communication, exception handling, JUnits, Kafka, all these things in a Spring Boot, in a development area, core development area. Once we completed all the development area, then we move into the cloud configurations or cloud components. Got it? Okay. Before moving into the cloud components, we need to cover all the development areas, right? MongoDB, exception handling, JUnits, and Kafka related things, and service communication. All the development areas we need to cover all the developing areas. After that, we need to go into the Spring Cloud configurations.
Sure.
Got it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure,
so this is
Raju,
what this is. Ask.
Oh, one more doubt, Raju. Like, where do you give this that port number of Swagger in the code? I just missed it.
Okay. Good question. So application.properties file, by default it will take the 8080, right? So we need to give the port number here. Server.port.
Okay, this is for Swagger.
This is for Swagger, which means our application port number.
Application port number. Okay, Swagger port. Then
not Swagger port number. You should not call like that. See, internally it will come to the embedded Tomcat server. So Tomcat server by default have a port number 8080. If you want to change the port number, we can define the port number here. So Swagger is the dashboard of our application, not Swagger port number. This port number is related to our application. Swagger is the dashboard of our application. So this is simply dashboard by calling our application. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I just got confused. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. No issue. Whenever you are having a confused, you can ask me. I will explain very clearly.
Okay. And consider like two Spring Boot application I'm running. Both uses different port number. Consider I'm running another one Spring Boot also. It uses 2024. Okay. Then both are enabled with Swagger. Then like localhost 2023, if I'm giving one application will be Swagger will be open, and if I'm giving localhost 2024, other Swagger application Swagger will be open. It's
Exactly.
like that, right? Okay.
Correct. So one server can hold multiple applications, right? So that we can call parallelly in a different tabs. No issue.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So this is what today class, and tomorrow we will connect to the service communication. How we are going to how the two services internally communicate with each other. We will see tomorrow's class. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Mesh, do you have any doubts?
Right now, no. We'll go through that and we'll just ask.
Okay. Fine. Yeah. Thanks for your time, and I will share this GitHub link and all in YouTube video description as well as our WhatsApp chat. Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.